Urgent soulmate news, they just made a secret decision about you. And their next move will leave you speechless. My beloved child, stop for a moment and listen carefully, because this message may be reaching you at a time when your heart has been asking questions that no one around you seems able to answer. Something has shifted behind the scenes. Something has been changing quietly, slowly, and deeply in the heart of the person you have been thinking about. You may not have seen the evidence yet. You may not have received the message you were hoping for. You may still be looking at silence, distance, uncertainty, or mixed signals. But my beloved child, silence does not always mean nothing is happening. Sometimes the biggest decisions are made in silence before they ever become visible. Your soulmate may have been thinking about you far more than they have admitted. They may have replayed conversations, remembered moments, questioned their own choices, and wondered whether walking away from you was truly the right decision. And now, something inside them is beginning to change. This is not a promise that another person must return to you, and it is not a guarantee of a particular outcome. Instead, receive this message as encouragement to remain grounded, protect your heart, and recognize that your worth is not determined by someone else's timing. My beloved child, there are moments when life becomes quiet because a chapter is preparing to reveal what it has been teaching you. You have spent enough time wondering whether you were forgotten. You have spent enough time asking why someone could appear so close one day and so distant the next. You have spent enough time questioning whether the connection was real. Today, I want you to breathe. I want you to release the pressure to know everything immediately. There are things you cannot control, but there are also things you can control: your response, your boundaries, your dignity, your healing, your faith, and the direction of your own life. And my beloved child, that is where your power begins. Perhaps your soulmate has recently reached a private conclusion. Perhaps they have realized that they cannot keep pretending that their feelings do not exist. Perhaps they have recognized that avoiding a conversation has not erased the emotions inside them. Perhaps they have begun to understand what your absence actually feels like. Sometimes people only understand the value of a connection after the noise disappears. When you were always available, they may not have noticed how much comfort your presence brought into their life. When you stopped chasing, they may have noticed the silence. When you stopped explaining yourself, they may have begun asking themselves questions. When you turned your attention toward your own growth, they may have realized that life continues even when they remain undecided. My beloved child, do not interpret this as a command to wait for someone. Do not put your life on pause. Do not reject new opportunities because you are hoping one specific person will return. Instead, allow the situation to unfold naturally while you continue becoming stronger. If someone truly wants to be part of your future, their actions will eventually need to communicate what their words cannot. You deserve consistency. You deserve respect. You deserve honesty. You deserve a relationship where you do not have to constantly decode silence. The secret decision being made may not simply be about whether they will contact you. It may be a decision within themselves to stop running from what they feel, to confront what they have avoided, and to decide what kind of person they want to become. And that inner decision can be more important than any sudden text message. My beloved child, maybe they have been looking back at the past. Maybe they remember the way you listened when no one else did. Maybe they remember your patience. Maybe they remember your smile, your voice, your kindness, or a small moment that you thought meant nothing. Human hearts often store details that the mind believes it has forgotten. A simple sentence can return years later. A familiar song can bring back a memory. A place can suddenly remind someone of a person they tried to move beyond. Your soulmate may have experienced one of those moments. Something may have triggered a realization. Something may have caused them to compare the connection they had with you to what they experience elsewhere. And suddenly they may have asked themselves, "Why did I let this person go?" My beloved child, if that question is being asked in their heart, remember that the answer is theirs to discover. You do not need to rescue them from their confusion. You do not need to convince them of your value. You do not need to prove that you were genuine. Your value existed before they recognized it, and it will remain even if they never recognize it. The strongest position you can take is not desperation. It is peace. You can care about someone without abandoning yourself. You can love someone without chasing them. You can hope without making hope your entire identity. You can remain open without becoming emotionally dependent on an outcome. My beloved child, this is the maturity your current season may be teaching you. Perhaps the reason the connection became complicated was not because you were unworthy, but because both people needed to grow. Sometimes two people can genuinely care for one another and still not know how to build a healthy relationship. Feelings alone do not create stability. Love requires communication, responsibility, honesty, courage, patience, and consistent action. If your soulmate is truly preparing to return, let them return with clarity rather than confusion. Let them return with accountability rather than excuses. Let them return with actions rather than promises. You do not need to lower your standards simply because your heart misses someone. My beloved child, missing someone is not proof that you must go back to the same situation. Sometimes missing someone is simply evidence that the connection mattered. You can honor what mattered while still choosing what is healthy for you. And if a reunion is meant to happen, it should be built on something stronger than nostalgia. It should be built on growth. Perhaps this is why the next move may surprise you. You may expect a dramatic confession, but instead you may receive a simple message. You may expect an apology, but instead someone may first test the waters with a casual conversation. You may expect certainty, but initially there may be hesitation. Do not rush to interpret every small action as destiny. Observe patterns. Observe consistency. Observe whether their behavior aligns with what they say. My beloved child, discernment is not cynicism. Discernment is wisdom. You can have a soft heart and strong boundaries at the same time. You can forgive someone and still require changed behavior. You can believe people can grow while refusing to accept repeated disrespect. You can be compassionate without becoming available for manipulation. This is your season to become emotionally wise. Your soulmate's secret decision may be connected to a realization that they have been avoiding. Maybe they understand now that the connection cannot remain in the same uncertain state forever. Maybe they know that eventually they must either move toward honesty or accept that distance will become permanent. That realization can create pressure inside a person. It can make them review their choices. It can make them question whether fear has been controlling their behavior. Maybe they were afraid of rejection. Maybe they were afraid of commitment. Maybe they were afraid of vulnerability. Maybe they were influenced by other people. Maybe circumstances made the connection difficult. Maybe they simply did not understand themselves. My beloved child, you do not have to know every reason today. Sometimes answers arrive in pieces. Sometimes clarity comes after distance. Sometimes the truth becomes visible only when emotions settle. And sometimes the most important answer is not whether someone chooses you, but whether you finally choose yourself. Think about that deeply. For so long, perhaps you have been waiting for someone else to make a decision. But what if your life is waiting for you to make yours? What if your decision is to stop living in uncertainty? What if your decision is to stop measuring your worth by someone's attention? What if your decision is to become so focused on your purpose that love becomes something you welcome rather than something you desperately need? My beloved child, this is not about becoming cold. It is about becoming whole. You are allowed to love deeply without losing yourself. You are allowed to dream about partnership while still building your individual life. You are allowed to believe in love while also believing in yourself. And when you reach that place, you will no longer be terrified by someone else's silence because you know your life still has meaning. Perhaps your soulmate senses this change in you. Perhaps they have noticed that you are different. Maybe they expected you to keep reaching out. Maybe they expected you to remain emotionally available whenever they appeared. But something changed. You became quieter. You became stronger. You began focusing on yourself. You started protecting your energy. And now they may be wondering whether the door is still open. My beloved child, if they come back, you do not have to answer immediately. You can take your time. You can ask questions. You can listen. You can watch. You can decide. You are not obligated to accept someone simply because they finally recognize your value. A return is only meaningful if the future becomes healthier than the past. Remember that. Do not let loneliness make decisions that wisdom should make. Do not let nostalgia erase the reasons you were hurt. Do not let one emotional conversation convince you that everything has changed. Real change is visible over time. My beloved child, if your soulmate has truly made a secret decision to approach you, their next move may begin with something small. A message. A reaction. A question. A mutual connection. A chance meeting. A simple, "How have you been?" Do not underestimate small beginnings, but do not exaggerate them either. Let the truth reveal itself. If they are sincere, they will continue. If they are only curious, their interest may disappear. If they are lonely, they may seek comfort but not commitment. If they are serious, they will eventually communicate with greater clarity. Your task is not to predict which one it is. Your task is to remain grounded enough to recognize the difference. My beloved child, there is another possibility you must consider. The secret decision may be about letting go. And even that can be a blessing. Sometimes we spend months waiting for someone to choose us when life is quietly preparing us for someone who will not hesitate. Sometimes the person we call our soulmate becomes a teacher rather than a lifelong partner. Sometimes a powerful connection enters our life to awaken us, challenge us, expose our wounds, and push us toward growth. That does not make the connection meaningless. It means its purpose may have been different from what you expected. Do not fear this possibility. Your future is not destroyed because one relationship changes direction. Your future is bigger than one person. My beloved child, I want you to understand this clearly: you are not behind. You are not forgotten. You are not too difficult to love. You are not destined to remain alone simply because one chapter became painful. Your story is still unfolding. The chapter you are currently living may feel uncertain, but uncertainty is not the same as failure. Sometimes uncertainty is the space between what was and what is coming next. During that space, you may feel restless. You may search for signs. You may check your phone repeatedly. You may wonder whether they will contact you today. But peace cannot depend on a notification. Your emotional stability cannot be controlled by another person's decision. My beloved child, put the phone down sometimes. Go outside. Work on your goals. Spend time with people who genuinely care about you. Build something. Learn something. Rest. Laugh. Pray if prayer is meaningful to you. Take care of your body and mind. Create a life that feels valuable even when nobody is texting you. Then, if someone returns, you will meet them from strength rather than emptiness. Perhaps your soulmate has been doing something similar. Maybe they have been forced to confront themselves. Maybe they have been thinking about what they want from love. Maybe they have realized that distractions cannot replace genuine emotional connection. Maybe they tried to move forward but discovered that unresolved feelings followed them. Maybe they have compared new experiences with the connection they shared with you. But remember, my beloved child, their realization is not your responsibility. Their healing is their responsibility. Their courage is their responsibility. Their communication is their responsibility. You can support healthy behavior, but you cannot do their inner work for them. If they return, let them show you who they have become. Do not fall in love with the potential version of someone while ignoring the current version. Look at what is actually happening. This is where your discernment becomes powerful. Maybe you once accepted breadcrumbs because you were afraid of losing the connection. Maybe you tolerated inconsistency because you hoped it would eventually become commitment. Maybe you explained away behavior that hurt you because you believed the person had a good heart. My beloved child, having a good heart does not excuse harmful behavior. A person can struggle and still be responsible for how they treat others. Compassion and accountability can exist together. If they apologize, listen. If they explain, listen. But also ask whether the behavior changes. Words can open a door, but actions must walk through it. Perhaps their secret decision is to finally speak honestly. If that happens, let honesty be met with honesty. Do not play games. Do not pretend you do not care if you do. Do not exaggerate your feelings to force a reaction. Do not use jealousy to test them. Do not create drama to obtain attention. Healthy love does not require emotional warfare. My beloved child, you have already experienced enough confusion. You do not need more. You need clarity. You need peace. You need mutual effort. You need someone who can communicate when things become difficult rather than disappearing. You need someone who can celebrate your success without feeling threatened. You need someone who respects your boundaries. You need someone who can disagree without disrespecting you. You need someone who chooses you freely, not someone you have to convince. And if your soulmate is becoming that person, you will see it through their behavior. If they are not, you will have the courage to keep moving. Either way, you win because you are no longer abandoning yourself. My beloved child, there may also be people around your soulmate influencing their decisions. Friends, family, past relationships, fear, social expectations, financial concerns, distance, career responsibilities, or personal insecurities can complicate love. But ultimately, adults must make their own choices. Do not spend your life trying to defeat imaginary rivals or third parties. Do not obsess over who they are talking to. Do not compare yourself with another person. Comparison steals your peace. If someone chooses you, let that choice be clear. You do not need to compete for a place in someone's heart. Your soulmate's next move should not require you to destroy your dignity. My beloved child, perhaps you have been wondering why things became quiet recently. Sometimes silence is an invitation to step back. When you stop forcing an outcome, you create room for truth. If the person genuinely wants connection, space may encourage them to act. If they do not, space will reveal that too. Either answer is valuable. Because the worst place to live is permanent uncertainty. You deserve to know what is real. And sometimes the only way to discover reality is to stop chasing explanations and allow behavior to speak. My beloved child, I want you to imagine that your heart is a beautiful home. Would you allow anyone to walk into that home, create chaos, leave whenever they want, and return only when they feel lonely? No. Your heart deserves a door. It deserves boundaries. It deserves protection. Love does not mean leaving the door unlocked for everyone. Love means welcoming the right person with wisdom. If your soulmate returns, let them knock. Let them explain why they are there. Let them demonstrate respect. Then decide whether you want to open the door. You are allowed to say yes. You are allowed to say no. You are allowed to say, I need time. My beloved child, your ability to choose is part of your healing. Perhaps you have forgotten that because you have spent so long waiting to be chosen. But today, remember, you choose too. You have a voice. You have standards. You have dreams. You have boundaries. You have a future. And your future should never be sacrificed to preserve a relationship that refuses to become healthy. There is a reason your heart has survived what it has survived. You have learned things. You have become stronger. You have discovered what you cannot tolerate anymore. You have learned that attention is not the same as commitment. Chemistry is not the same as compatibility. Promises are not the same as consistency. And missing someone is not the same as being meant to return to them. These lessons are precious. My beloved child, Perhaps the secret decision your soulmate has made is connected to all of these lessons. Maybe they have finally realized that if they want another chance, they cannot approach you the same way they did before. They may understand that the old patterns cannot continue. They may know that you have changed. They may sense that you will not accept confusion anymore. And that realization could be the beginning of something healthier. Or the final confirmation that they are not ready. Let the truth decide. Do not force it. There is no need to chase what is genuinely moving toward you. My beloved child, you may receive unexpected communication soon, but remember that timing varies from person to person and no one can guarantee what another human being will do. If a message arrives, read it calmly. Do not respond from adrenaline. Do not immediately pour out everything you have been holding inside. Take a breath. Ask yourself what you actually want. Ask whether the message addresses the past or merely avoids it. Ask whether they are offering clarity or simply reopening an emotional door. Your heart may be excited, but your wisdom can remain present. That balance is powerful. My beloved child, maybe they say, "I miss you." That can be meaningful, but it is not a complete relationship plan. Maybe they say, "I made a mistake." Listen, but watch what follows. Maybe they say, "I want another chance." Ask what will be different. Maybe they say, "I never stopped caring." Ask what prevented them from showing it. These are not cruel questions. They are healthy questions. You are not punishing someone by asking for clarity. You are protecting your future. And if they respond with maturity, that tells you something. If they become defensive, manipulative, or disappear again, that tells you something too. My beloved child, you no longer need to be afraid of answers. Even an answer you do not want can free you from uncertainty. Sometimes the truth hurts for a moment but saves you from years of confusion. Sometimes the truth is beautiful and